Calculus 2 kicked my butt, okay, the first week or two. When we were starting integrals, something just was not clicking for me. I really had a hard time thinking backwards. And so I remember having to sit in class, struggle, and then ask a teacher for help. I would go back and sit at my chair again, try and work the problems out, still confused. And then when class was dismissed, I would need to stay after. And I started to have to schedule tutoring every afternoon after school was done, every single day for the first week or two, okay? So I had a really awesome calculus teacher in high school. She sat with me for a good hour each and every day for about the first week or two, okay? And it really helped me out. And that wasn't even enough, because after I would sit with her and figure out what it is I'm struggling with, I would go home and I would have to do maybe an extra 3 to 4 hours of just practice problems. I'm not talking about just the homework. I'm talking about going beyond that. But you know what's really cool is, with all of that work and effort, as boring as it was at first, I started really enjoying it. And I went the next 9 weeks in class, not missing a single point. And the reason why I'm telling you that is because I want to give you hope that you might struggle in this class, and that is okay. But the mistake I made was I did not prepare for calculus. I just kind of winged it like a ninja. I'm just here for whatever. I'm going to see what it is we learn, because in the past I got away with it. Math was always my stronger coursework, but this is where I really could have done a better job preparing for it. And I'm telling you this now so that you don't go through the same pain I did, because even though I ended up being okay and getting an A in the class, you don't want to have to even be in that situation. And so that's going to lead me to point number 1 that relates to that story. And before I talk more about that, just a little bit about myself also. I did teach calculus in college in the tutoring center. We used to have this engineering tutoring center where between classes, students can go there and get help from teachers like myself. So I used to tutor students like you, and I have that firsthand experience. And then I always wanted to be a math teacher, and I ended up choosing software engineering, which is what I've been doing for a while now. And I get to make some really cool apps. I actually made a ninja math game you can check out in the description below. But moving back on to why you came here, point number 1 is, don't make the mistake I made. Don't wait on your teacher and your coursework, okay? So what I mean here is, if you're about to take calculus in a few weeks, or you have a break in between semesters, start doing the work now to build that muscle memory. See, in my case, I finally built the muscle memory the hard way after having to go through that tutoring and working extra every night. But if you start using your resources that I didn't have back in college, like YouTube, that wasn't a thing back then. You have YouTube at your disposal now. You can watch videos like mine or other creators. You can pick up an AP Barron's study guide, like in the description below. There's even a Kindle version for it. You can look at random Reddit threads where people have looked at sample problems and approaches they've taken. We have so much information now that's freely available in addition to your coursework. So the problem with waiting on your teacher is you don't know what your teacher's teaching style is going to be next semester. They might be someone you really click with, or someone you just absolutely struggle with, and you're just more confused than when you even walked into the door to take your class, right? So now is the time, when you have the time, to start building that muscle memory and start feeding yourself this information early, okay? Now, another thing that I want to point out is figuring out where you struggled with. Just like I did at first with integrals, but then they became my strong suit, where now I'm able to help students like you on this YouTube channel. Think back to previous math classes you've taken. The reason why AP Calculus is so hard for many students is that it requires a strong foundation for some prerequisite classes like trigonometry, your algebra fundamentals. And you want to make sure that before you go into the semester, check your blind spots, meaning where did you struggle in past classes? Okay, so a lot of us were naturally good at certain things, right? For Calc 1, for me, that was derivatives. Like, I just picked that up. But then we can struggle in other areas, and that's okay. But now I want you to make a list. Think about, maybe, was it working in radians and degrees where you had a hard time? Was it trig identities? This is, again, something where I want you to sit down and work on some practice problems and just sharpen up those skills before you go into a difficult class like AP Calc. Because when you're in AP Calc, a way to fall behind is if you're struggling, not because of the calculus, but because of the fundamentals that you didn't sharpen before you went into the class, right? There's this verse in the Bible about iron sharpens iron, and it really hits home on things like this, where you really want to put in the work and basically hone your craft. So you're not going in unprepared and taking a gamble on your own career, because it would be unfortunate if, because you didn't do the preparation ahead of time, you didn't pass calculus, and that dream job you're trying to go for, now you can't graduate or you have to change your major altogether. Another thing I want to point out here as well is the mindset. I don't know about you, but when I was in school, everybody hated math. They always blamed the teacher. I had a bad teacher. This is why I flunked, this and that. And this is also a life lesson in general, because many of you are starting your lives now in college. It's not just about math at this point. It's also about taking control of your health, whether it's your finances, whether it's what makes you happy, your passions in life, your career, your relationships. Mindset is everything beyond math. So I want you to also focus on your mindset with how you're looking at your coursework and your homework. Are you seeing it as a chore? Are you seeing it as a burden to what it is you really want to do? Oftentimes we don't like the things that we don't understand. Like, for instance, with me, with software engineering, I never thought I'd be a web developer. I always thought I would work really closely with the hardware. And so that's also me saying, okay, I didn't really understand web development, so I just assumed in my head that I wouldn't like it. But guess what? Once I started putting in the effort and the work, that changed. I love it now. And I absolutely still love my job 20 years after the fact. I've been doing this for my whole life. I still do it for fun. I make mobile apps on the side. And so for you, I want you to really go back to tying back into this right here, this not waiting on your teacher or anyone in life, just basically showing up in your own success and making sure that you're putting in the work and thinking to yourself about your mindset and looking at calculus in a different way about what's good about this. How can calculus actually help me in life? I know a lot of you may not agree with me and you might think, oh, math is pointless. We'll never use it in our life. And I can tell you so many reasons why that's not the case. I've used it in my career. And if you ever want me to make a video to prove how, tell me in the comments below. But really, when you focus on you and what makes you happy and your approach to problem solving, it's a game changer. Everything falls into place. So I hope this was helpful for you. You tell me what you think. And I know this video is a little bit different because I usually don't show up on camera, but I thought this is a perfect time for many of you kind of going through the unknowns of life and calculus, not knowing what to expect. And I really hope this was helpful, and God bless. And I'll see you guys in the future videos.